mean, one of the big problems about this project is John Cleese isn't funny anymore. This project reeks of desperation to me, and it's a bad idea. It will spoil the memory of the original.
Hello and welcome to the Showbiz Showdown with me, JJ, and this Yobi. This is the programme where we take the biggest topics, the most controversial issues from the world of entertainment, and we debate it, sometimes to death. Doing that tonight, doing that today with me. In the blue corner, she's sublime, sensational. It's Miss Afua Hagan.
Hello.
Fantastic. And in the red corner, he is the drinking woman's Rupert Everett. It is talkTV legend, Kevin O'Sullivan.
Where'd you get that from?
Google Rupert Everett.
I'll take that. I like Rupert Everett, but that's a strange thing to be called. But anyway, there you go.
You need a badge with that on it.
I'll take it.
I'm going to make that for you.
I'm a big admirer of Rupert.
Now, we're going to start with some facts. This is not a rumour, it's not idle gossip. Fawlty Towers is making a comeback, and I can already hear those of you under 50 watching saying, what is Fawlty Towers? Well, this is what it is.
Oh, no, please. No. Please. No. There aren't any major. It went off by accident.
Oh, come on and join us. Oh, thank you so much.
Fire! No! Yes! Look, will you get back in there? Yes, no! Shut up! I mean, just get on with your work. Mr. Boss, it's fire! Did you hear what I said? No, but it's fire! It's no fire, it's only drill! It's fire!
So, John Cleese has said he's going to do a reboot. Not a remake, a reboot. He's going to write a new script with his daughter. It's going to be really funny, apparently. A fish out of water in the modern world, and cynical Basil Fawlty's back. But do we need a reboot? And is Fawlty Towers going to be okay in this new woke world? I hate using the word woke like that because it's incorrect.
So annoying.
But Kevin, you're the only person here who was actually alive when Fawlty Towers was first aired, and actually the only person alive when Fawlty Towers was cancelled.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Well, it's arguably the greatest sitcom of all time, but it was in its time. What do you think's the greatest sitcom of all time?
Well,
Wait for a rubbish show. Come on.
Definitely not.
Come on, what's a good
Towers.
sitcom then, Afia?
The Office.
Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, all right.
Oh, okay, fair.
Absolute classic.
Damn, that was a good answer. Right. Anyway, to go back to your question, JJ, it was a great sitcom. It was a beautiful sitcom. It was 2 series. I believe 12 episodes altogether.
That's
and
right.
there they sit to this day, like a beautiful thing, frozen in time. Every time somebody like TV Gold plays a series again, people watch it again. I'm always finding myself watching old episodes just because there's nothing else to watch, and it still makes you laugh. But it should be left there. It should be preserved like a golden jewel in the history of time. This remake, I guarantee you right now, will be an utter disaster. John Cleese has got the right to make it. Apparently he's collaborating with Rob Reiner, the excellent actor and Hollywood producer. They say that creatively this is going to be brilliant. But to also go back to the tenor of your question, Basil Fawlty, back in the 70s, the whole idea of the series was this kind of old-fashioned guy, out of time, in the wrong time phase, just bemused, baffled and beaten by modern culture. So to move him forward and do it now, it will actually be the same story. But there's so many problems. I mean, one of the big problems about this project is John Cleese isn't funny anymore. Well, in the 1970s and indeed the 60s, he had this aura about him. Every time he opened his mouth, every time he was interviewed, even in a serious interview, he was just funny. He was one of those people that made you laugh. And I'm afraid he's not like that anymore. This project reeks of desperation to me, and it's a bad idea. It will spoil the memory of the original.
Wow. Afia, can you top that?
It's me. I have to disagree with you, Kevin. As you know, it's absolutely not the greatest sitcom of all time.
Well, that's just your view.
I think lots of people would agree with me. I think that. I mean, some of it was quite funny and some of it was quite offensive.
That's the bits I thought were funny. The offensive bits were the best.
Yeah, I know.
They mentioned the war.
Okay, there was those bits that was way worse than
Germany.
Listen, right. I don't know why Hollywood has this obsession with remaking and rebooting things. Some things need to absolutely just be left where they are. We do not need a Fawlty Towers reboot. And if they are going to reboot it, they're going to have to reboot it or remake it in a way where you remove all those offensive jokes, and then essentially you've removed all the humour, all the things that people like Kevin thought were funny. So then what is the point?
But
and I don't really think John Cleese was ever a comedy genius, and he's certainly not now.
Afua, I would say that there are some times when you can use racism and misogyny and offensive jokes in a funny way. Dave Chappelle does it masterfully. Ricky Gervais does it very well as well.
I don't know. Dave Chappelle, for me personally, is walking a fine line where he traverses being funny and just being downright offensive. But I think in today's world, it's just not going to fly. And people are not going to enjoy it. They're not going to buy into it. And I also don't think people are really going to buy into John Cleese. Like, John Cleese and his daughter being the master pool for this. No one cares.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget that the original series was a collaboration between him and his then wife, Connie Booth. Connie Booth had a lot to do with the writing, so that might be another area of concern, that the original team that came up with Fawlty Towers is now much dissolved, both personally and professionally, so Connie won't be involved. But you know, in terms of, if the question is, could you make an offensive comedy like this, or a potentially offensive comedy like this in 2023, I would say, why the hell not? The problem with too many comedies now, and this would be my worry if, actually this would be one of my worries if they remake Fawlty Towers, is they'll sit around worrying about what might be offensive, you know, trying to be, you know, woker than they used to be, all of that. And when sitcoms and comedians go down that route, they die a horrible death, because the only thing comedians and sitcom writers and actors should think about is this: is it funny? If it's funny, do it. If it's not, don't.
But it depends who finds it funny, right?
Yeah.
Because as you said, there are some
if I find
controversies.
it funny, that's all that counts.
The famous German.
It doesn't depend who finds it.
I think it
if
does.
some people find it funny, it's worth doing.
Well, some people found the German scene from Fawlty Towers funny, but
that's because it was funny.
This is the scene that we're talking about.
Here, watch. Who's this then? Stuff you, but I'll do the funny more. He can't. Cheer her up, you stupid crowd!
So, that was the German scene. He's goose-stepping, and actually, in that same episode, originally, there was the N-word thrown around a lot, which they edited out. John Cleese did say...
by the colonel, the major.
Thrown about. So John Cleese's response...
It was the W word, I
John
think.
Cleese's response...
To be accurate. They never used the N-word.
John Cleese's response was, I would have hoped that someone at the BBC would understand that there are two ways of making fun of human behaviour. One is to attack it directly. The other is to have someone who is patently a figure of fun speak up. We laughed at Alf's reactionary views. Okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It was making fun. But you know, I'm not saying, come on, bring it back with all the racist words or anything like that. That just wouldn't work today for all sorts of reasons. But actually, Cleese is right. The Major was a figure of fun, some sort of colonial throwback,
and what about
with the attitudes dating back to the Stone Age.
But what about Basil Fawlty himself? Because his whole shtick was making fun of Manuel, the waiter, who could speak fluent Spanish and basic English. John Cleese's character could only speak English, but he was still like looking down upon.
Yeah. But I mean, again, you know, you're not supposed to admire Basil Fawlty. Basil Fawlty's attitudes were being lampooned. You were supposed to laugh at Basil Fawlty and at the Major for their ancient attitudes. So that contention by Cleese, I think, is valid. Whether or not you'd get away with it today is a moot point.
I think the problem is that these tropes are so tired, so dated, and so outdone that people are just not going to want to see that again. And so, therefore, you've removed the humour from the programme. So, like...
Well, it depends what, though, doesn't it? I think, what do you mean by that?
Like you so rightly said, the basis of it was a man struggling in the modern world.
Yes,
and, you know, John Cleese doing that now, you know, you could really see how that would be funny. or could be
Well, it'd
funny.
be the same story, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, potentially, if they did that, it might be funny. But if the Fawlty Towers that we know from those 12 episodes was based on a lot of these old-fashioned tropes, which just wouldn't really translate anymore. So what would be the point? There isn't one.
Well,
They just shouldn't do it.
there's clearly a point. It's to make some money, and the reason that they'll probably do this is, don't forget, John Cleese is a man who not so long ago did an entire world stage tour called My Divorce Tour, because he needed to pay for his expensive divorce. So money is always the root of all showbiz evil, and the reason that this Fawlty Towers project may take flight, may happen, is because it's got name recognition. That's why you do it. You know, the Top Gun Maverick doesn't have the words Top Gun in it for no reason at all. It's because people saw Top Gun, and so on and so forth. So bringing back something with name recognition is a very easy thing to do.
But this is the thing, if you bring it back with name recognition, and that name recognition is John Cleese, without all John Cleese's tired tropes and all those jokes, would you watch it? Because let's be honest, the people that would appreciate John Cleese are your generation, Kevin. But without all...
Really? He's bloody 90 or something.
88.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
exactly. I'm not
your generation and above would appreciate John Cleese, but would you watch it
I'm
if
so
it
daunted
didn't
by
have...
being with all you groovy young things.
Okay, Kevin
so
just
fashionable.
Kevin just said
Cutting edge,
groovy,
isn't she?
so that's too
I'm
much.
daunted by it.
But would you watch it if it didn't have all those jokes in it?
Well, I'd watch it out of interest, which is why they're making it. I will watch it out of interest, and I know I'll be crashingly disappointed. And
Exactly,
he
so
won't
then-
make the same jokes. If he does it, it will shift the narrative for the 1970s, when it was all about, you know, race jokes, war jokes, strike jokes, to the strike jokes
Hold
still
on.
stand, by the way.
Race, war, strikes.
Yeah,
Pretty much now, then.
Yeah, so it'll all be him struggling with wokery, you know, like JJ does. You know, when he calls Sam Smith he and him. You know.
Yes.
So you know, Cleese and JJ have the same kind of problem.
They actually have done this 3 times already in the US. A remake. The first one lasted for just the pilot episode before they scrapped it.
Of Fawlty Towers.
They set it in the US.
Is that right? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Americans just
Oh, they
wouldn't
made an
get
American
Fawlty
version.
Made an American
Towers.
version.
They won't get it.
They made an American version with
exactly.
Betty White from Golden Girls.
All right.
1 episode gone.
Of
They did a
course.
second attempt with B. Arthur, also from Golden Girls. That lasted for 10 episodes, so it did better.
So is
Then-
this just a vehicle for the former Golden Girls to keep eating?
Well, then the third version,
Right.
they made 9 episodes. It aired 8 and they got cancelled. So
Did it have any of the Golden Girls
No,
in it?
not this time.
So that's
Not
why
this
it
time.
failed?
Well, they're all bad.
Oh, you like the
they're all
Golden
bad.
Girls?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
That's
good.
a bit of an old-fashioned
bit of cheesecake.
sitcom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old-fashioned, awful old, ancient thing.
Why was that awful?
So it's because it's so old-fashioned.
Do we have any remakes? Hold up a second.
Yeah.
Are there any remakes or reboots that have been better than the original? I would argue the American Office is better than the British Office.
I think I might agree with you on that one.
Yeah, Kevin,
that was better.
TV critic.
I think the American Office is good. I don't think it's better than the British one.
What about Porridge? That was in 2016, the remake.
Never
Well, it
watched
didn't work,
that.
did it? Didn't work. Now,
Yeah.
that's a good. I was trying to think of examples of classic comedies that they've tried to bring back, and it didn't work. I mean, it wasn't quite a sitcom, but you know, again, it's probably before your time. But back in the 80s, I think it was Minder, massive hit.
Upstairs, Downstairs. They did a remake of that.
I don't remember that show.
Yeah, they did, and that was a
and
disaster.
I thought it was really
Yeah, but
good.
it was a disaster.
really
Nobody
good.
watched it.
I watched
no,
it.
it doesn't matter. It was axed because nobody watched
Yeah.
it.
It was brilliant.
Well, you might have done, but you have terrible taste.
So,
Unbelievable.
okay, we've got the bell. So I'm so confused now because you're basically agreeing that reboots and remakes don't work.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
But you're saying that you would still watch Fawlty Towers reboot, and
Well,
you're
out
saying
of interest,
and
yeah.
you wouldn't watch
No,
it.
I've got no time for that.
Okay, so that's the new question.
Yes.
God.
Oh,
would you watch?
No.
We don't know what to say.
Would you watch Fawlty Towers?
Well, why do you
No.
declare it?
Yes.
It's a draw.
Well, there was also in, you know the drill. My opinion matters most, and you both win because you're both agreeing and disagreeing at the same time.
I've won more though.
You've won more. That's it. Thank you. If you two will be
Calm,
quiet.
girls.
Why do you hate the Golden Girls? What did
Because
they
it's
do?
so old-fashioned.
What did they
It's
do to
representative
you?
of a time that is gone. You've got to move with the times.
That's
You've got to be more
nostalgia.
modern, Afua. You're so
I've got to
old-fashioned.
be more modern.
Yeah, you really
Said
have.
Uncle Kevin,
Your
who said
generation and your
groovy.
terrible
Oh my God.
old sitcoms. I mean, come on, get with the program.
Well,
Okay, boomer.
That is all we have time for. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and in the comments, maybe just name your favourite old school sitcom
That's a good
where
idea.
there's Golden Girls. What's the one with the yellow van?
Only fools and horses.
I'm too young to know about those kind of things, you know. But thank you for watching, and see you again next time.